Hello and welcome to my Fantasy Premier League football show. Bit of a mouthful actually. Maybe we'll condense it down. But you get the gist. Basically, it's a video about fantasy football, and it's fantasy football that you lot are involved in. Now, loads of you have already joined the Hammers Chat Mini League, which I'll flash the code up by magic across the screen now. That's the code to join. Now, it's not the Sun or the Sky TV or Sky Sports, should I say, version. This is the official Premier League version. So it's www.fantasy/Premier League. Again, I'll put the description in the link below. We've had loads of people sign up though, but we want more and we need more because the competition is going to be fierce and it is going to be furious. I'm in it, everyone in Hammers Chat is in it, and well, it's going to be highly, highly competitive. Now, the idea of the show is that on a week-by-week basis, we will analyse who's done well, who's done badly. There'll be prizes, there'll be banter. It will be a very, very good competition. Now, in terms of prizes, don't worry if somebody at the start goes off into the lead. It always happens. Anyone that's played fantasy football before will know that somebody's just brilliant at the start and they go off into the lead. Don't think that's it. Prize is done. It ain't so. Because our friends at King Apparel, here, King Apparel. Now, they are our friends. I know everyone says it, don't they, when they're plugging something, but they are honestly our friends. They are West Ham season ticket holders. It's a Stratford-based clothing company. They do streetwear, absolutely lovely, lovely clothing supplier and manufacturer. They come to the boats. They drink with us after the game. They have kindly offered to give the winner of each month, so there'll be separate mini competitions. Each month, we'll run a separate competition. So it doesn't matter if you're at the bottom of the league or you're at the top. If you do well in that month, then you get to go on the King Apparel website, scroll through their T-shirts and pick one in your size, your colour, your style, and they'll send it to you. How brilliant is that? Now, that won't be the only prize. We're going to be doing some other Hammers Chat T-shirts. We may even do a Canning Town Len T-shirt, which is in, I wouldn't say in production, but in design at the moment. But Len's a very, very busy boy. So we'll look at it, but there'll be some books and some different things. And we're going to get you involved. And when I say you involved, I don't mean just you leave a comment and nobody reads them. We read them. You get involved. We will look at your team if you've done, particularly those who have done well. We will analyse the team, who's done well, why they've done well, and what players it looks like you've bought and sold. Because there is a bit of an air of mystery about this type of fantasy football. And this is why on this show, it's just a starter show. I'm going to show you my team and I'm going to show you Connor's team. Connor is the guy that does a lot of the graphics, has done the thumbnail on this show and does a lot of our graphics at Hammers Chat. All the rest of them, we can't see. I can't see everybody else's teams, but I know there's a lot of people who have entered into the leagues. So, here's how this system works. And I'm not going to bore you with it. Please do read the instructions and read the rules for yourself. But you basically have to pick a squad with 2 goalkeepers. You have to pick 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 forwards. And from within that squad, you pick your starting 11 each week. Now, it costs 100 million. That's what you get to spend. And I'll go through some of my players in a minute, the prices of them, and the reasons why I've signed them. But you can change that team and keep on changing it right up until the start of the season, without penalty. Once the season starts, then unfortunately you are penalised for any additional transfers you make. You're allowed 1 free transfer each week. Any ones above and beyond that will cost 4 points off your total. But bearing in mind, you're trying to gain points by your defenders keeping clean sheets, your goalkeepers making saves, your midfielders and forwards scoring goals. Making too many changes is not particularly advantageous. You're going to lose those points that you've accumulated through your team's scoring. So think wisely about it. I'm not an expert, far from it. In fact, I've never won Fantasy Football League. So what am I doing in this video, you ask? Well, I'm doing it because a few of you have asked me to do it. I mean, I think last season I was in one with 7 participants and I came 6th. That's how bad I am. But we're going to look at my crappy old team anyway. I'm going to give you my reasons and I'm going to give you my thoughts as to why I've chosen them. Now, just before I do that, it's very, very important if you've played other fantasy leagues. You do get, once the season started, it used to be called a wild card, but now it's called a free hit. That allows you at any one given time during the season to be able to change everybody in your team, for a whole new fresh batch of players as long as it fits within your budget. Now, your budget might not stay at 100 million. Your budget might well increase. So let's say last season you'd bought Mohamed Salah at 7 million. Well, obviously he had a brilliant season, player of the year and all that sort of stuff. His value probably rose to 12 million. You can sell him, and I think they split half the profit with you. So all of a sudden, your team that might be valued at 107 million, 100 million might now be worth 105 million or whatever. So you can sell them. So particularly if somebody does really, really well, then gets injured, sell them. Sell them quick and then go and reinvest it in someone else. And that way, you can get more star players into your team. It's not all about star players at all. Some people are very, very clever in the way that they pick them. Just not me, really. But as I see it, there are probably 4 key rules into selecting a championship-winning fantasy football team. Now, firstly, you're going to need a midfielder who's got poise and balance. You're going to need a goalkeeper with cat-like reflexes. If you make a mistake, you better cover it up very quickly. And of course, if all else fails, you can just change your team. Of course, earlier on I did explain how you could change your team without incurring any penalties. But don't forget, please do check and go onto the website itself and just check out all of their rules. Submit your team and make sure you get it in early. It doesn't matter, you can get your team in when you want. As I said, we'll be doing monthly prizes, but if you don't get in at the very start for the first games, you're not going to accrue points, so it's going to be very, very hard for you to challenge for the main title if you've got that in mind and if you're that good. Okay, let's take you through my team now. This is what I've selected, this is what I've bought with my 100 million. I'll go through it just very, very quickly, and then I'll explain why I've bought each one. So I've got Hennessy at 4.5 million, De Gea at 6 million, Declan Rice 4.5, Pereira at 5, Trippier at 6 million, Jazz Richards at 4, Mendy 6 million, Madison 6.5, Neves 5 million, Sessegnon 6.5 million, Leroy Sane at 9.5 million, Mohamed Salah, how could you not, at 13 million, then a front three of Marco Arnautovic at 7 million, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Have I done well? Have I done that correctly or not? I've probably slaughtered his name. But he's 11 million. And some bloke called Reed at 5 million. Because I run out of money. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to make your money work for you. So I didn't think, in the goalkeepers, you've got to have 2 goalkeepers. Obviously, some of them go onto the... one of them goes onto the bench, one of them plays. I didn't see the point in having 2 equally capable goalkeepers. What's the point? I think one good one cannon fodder, if you know what I mean. So I've got David De Gea, and it's no surprise that David De Gea is my only Manchester United player for good reason. I think they're lacking invention. I think they're lacking any sort of swashbuckling spirit at all under Jose Mourinho, but he does know how to organise a defence. And I think De Gea is going to keep clean sheets. I think a good defence means clean sheets, and clean sheets means points for a goalkeeper. Plus, he will often do a match-winning save, and you get additional points for saves as well. So just bear that in mind. Hennessy, he's not even going to play, so I was just looking to save some money, which allowed me to spend big on De Gea. Declan Rice, I've gone for him again. I needed to save money. He's West Ham. Obviously, we're a West Ham channel, and I want to get some West Ham players in there, but not too much. I think sometimes if you just choose from your own team, you don't think analytically, and you sort of go with your heart rather than your head. So Declan Rice is one with a head because he's not pretty going to play at centre-back. He's going to play at central defensive midfield. Whilst he might not score a lot of goals, he certainly is going to be further forward on the pitch than the defenders. Now, that's a funny one with defenders. I'm not a great one for choosing centre-backs. When John Terry was playing, he used to score 8, 9 goals a season from set plays, great, have him in there. But in the main, I think it's probably wise to pick attacking fullbacks, because they're likely to get assists as well as pick up the odd clean sheet. So they're just going to hopefully gain more points. That's my reasoning. That's my theory. If you think it's a load of rubbish, do tell me. But that's what I think anyway. And please do tell me, because we're going to interact a lot on this show. So I've gone with Pereira. I think he's a good signing for Leicester. I think he's going to be... he's going to be one of the top players in the Premier League, certainly one of the top transfers. A very, very good acquisition for them. I think they bought well as well. But certainly be going for Pereira more than somebody like, you know, Johnny Evans or something like that. Now, I've gone with Kieran Trippier, much as it pains me to say it and to pick a Tottenham player, but he is going to maraud forward, isn't he? And he had a really good World Cup, and I like him. He looks a really good player. So I've swallowed me pride. I've swallowed me West Ham bias, if you like, and I've got Kieran Trippier in there, and hopefully he does well for us. Jazz Richards, I'm not going to lie, I don't know an awful lot about Jazz Richards, but he was cheap, and I bought him because 4 million on Jazz Richards allowed me to spend 6 million on Mendy, and whilst he had an injury-plagued season at Manchester City last year, he is going to play. We know what Pep Guardiola plays like, so I'm expecting him to be attacking more than he's defending, as we would with a lot of Man City players. Going into the midfield, Salah. All right, it lacks a bit of creativity, the signing of Salah, but how gutted would you be if you didn't sign Salah and he started the new season like he finished the old one? So he's in. Now, Leroy Sare, he is going to have a point to prove, a big, big point to prove. I thought he was fantastic. I think he's a brilliant player, but they didn't take him to Germany. They didn't take him to Russia with the German squad. So how good some of their players must have been was anyone's guess. Well, as it turned out, not very good is the answer. And he's going to be really peed off that he didn't go. And he's going to have a point to prove and a bee in his bonnet. And I'm expecting big things from him this season. The next player in the midfield is Sessegnon. Anyone that saw the playoffs or maybe caught a bit of Fulham in the Championship know that this kid is the future England international. Some were saying he might or should have gone to the World Cup. He's an attacking player. Actually started off at left back, but he's going to probably play at left wing, and he'll get a lot of goals. He gets into the box. He's got a lot of goals last season, and at 6.5 million, I think he represents good value. Possibly even better value is Neves of Wolves. Now, whilst I don't overly agree with picking central defensive midfielders for the game, for the same reason the defenders, you need them to get assists, you need them to get goals. This guy's a bit special. I think he's going to be one of the better players in the Premier League. I do think he'll score goals even from his deep line position. I do think he'll set things up. How long he'll stay at Wolves for, I guess, will be dependent on Wolves' continued ambition. But they've got rich owners and they've got good contacts in the particularly in the Portuguese market. So this guy is going to be a very, very good player. Last but not least, we have got James Madison, who has signed again for Leicester. A good signing from Norwich. He's got to take the Mahrez role, so big boots to fill. But bearing in mind, Mahrez used to sulk 3 times a season because he'd get a transfer wherever. I think Madison is going to do well. And again, reasonable value at 6.5 million. Just up front, Marko Arnautovic, well, it's clear, West Ham, aren't I? So we're going to choose him. And also, we've seen him pre-season, looks like he's going to continue as a centre-forward. Last year, he was a winger, as was Wilfried Zaha. And I really wanted to get Zaha in the team. I know he dives and he minces around a bit and all the rest of it. But he's a very good player, very effective player. But the fact that he'd been made into a striker I couldn't have Arnautovic and Zaha. So I've gone with Arnautovic just because he's absolutely brilliant. He's West Ham, and I just know a little bit more about him. Also, we don't know if Zaha's going to get transferred within the next, 6-7 days after the transfer window. Zaha gets transferred, it goes to a bigger team. We might find he's on the bench, and you're going to be pretty peed off if you spent money on him in your fantasy league football team and find that someone's on the bench. Immediately, that's your first week's transfer gone. So that's my reasoning, not going with Zaha. Aubameyang, well, I think Wenger's paid the big money for him. Wenger's gone. He was struggling towards the end, wasn't he, of his reign. Wenger, I certainly don't need to tell you anything about Arsenal at all, because it's just plastered over the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, you won't be able to move without seeing an Arsenal video. So everyone's going to know what went wrong at Arsenal. But obviously they've got Emery in now, who looks like he's going to do some good things there. And Aubameyang played with Mkhitaryan at Borussia Dortmund, and they built up a very, very good working relationship. So I'm expecting him possibly to challenge for the Golden Boot this season. Last but not least, well actually last but least, very much least, is a bloke called Reed. I plays for Cardiff. I couldn't afford anyone else. I'm sorry. I think he scored some goals for a Bristol team. I don't know. Look, he's going to be on the bench, as will Jazz Richards, as will Wayne Hennessy, because I just can't fit them in the team. Okay, now I am going to be playing a 3-5-2. It's easy enough to switch your formation. Just look how it's done and you'll see who's on the bench. So anyway, up pops my team and you will see who I'm playing as my 3-5-2 for the first game of the season. I do tell you, it's subject for change. If I see something happening, I may well change this. I probably won't be using Arnautovic as my captain. I'm going to need to look more closely at the first games of the season. But certainly with West Ham visiting Anfield for the opening game, I think we're looking at a high-scoring game. If you're a betting man, I'd certainly be looking at the over 2.5 goals for that particular game. Now, as promised, we have Connor's team. Now, I thought my team was quite good. And then I saw Connor's and I started having doubts about my own. Now, bearing in mind, all I can see is Connor's team. I can't see Connor's squad. You've seen my squad. I've shared it with you. But we can't see anybody else's as a discussed. We'll know a lot more come episode 2 of this fantasy football series. But I'm looking at Connor's team and I'm thinking he might be better than mine. Robertson, I think, is going to be good. He's going to be, again, marauding down at left. Interestingly, he's picked Salah and Neves. He's gone with Moy, who was very good last season. Again, West Ham were rumoured to be interested in him. I haven't checked it. I need to have a look at Huddersfield's first fixture, actually, just to see how well he's going to do. But the front three, Arnautovic, I've got Zaha, I discussed earlier, and Harry Kane. Now, I think, whilst I think your team looks good, Connor, I've got to say, I think in Harry Kane and Fabianski, you may be making an error. I think West Ham are going to, number one, let in a lot of goals this season. And number two, I'm not even sure. I say number two, Fabianski may well be the number two. We don't know if Adrian's going to start or not. So I'll be interested to see who your other goalkeeper is, Connor. Harry Kane, whilst he always contests the Golden Boot, I'm sure he will again this season, he starts the season slowly. And off the back of a tiring World Cup where he was fluking goals in left, right and centre, I'm joking. Well, I'm not. I'm sort of telling the truth, but half jokingly, because he's Tottenham. But I think, again, you'd be set for him starting the season slowly. Evidence would suggest he would. Maybe you'll be wrong. Sorry, maybe I'll be wrong on that. Maybe you will be right, Connor. And there's your team. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And that is how things stand. My team, Connor's team, very interested in what your team's going to be. So let's see what you can do. If you need any more details, go on to our forum at hammerschat.com. That is hammerschat.com. There is a thread on there that just said fantasy football. Join in on there. All the link codes are going to be below. I will flash the link code up on to the screen now. All you've got to do is go, you make your team, go my teams, and you go into join leagues. You join leagues, and it'll ask you to enter a code. You enter that code that is split into two. The big long number that you can see on screen now. If you can't drag across that and copy and paste it, look in the description below. You'll be able to copy and paste that. If you just scroll down on your phone or your device, it's just underneath. But while you are on your phone and your device, please just check if you are subscribed to this channel. And if you are, just have a look on the screen. It will say subscribed. If you're not, it's going to have a red button. It's going to say subscribe. If you're not, click that red button, please. Click subscribe. And then just next to it, if you could also click the bell, that is also going to give you a notification on your device whenever we produce a new video. We're not going to bombard you with crap. Well, apart from our videos, that's crap. But additional crap, apart from our videos, we will not bombard you with. So please do subscribe. please do get involved. There's so many YouTube channels that will say, leave your comments below and all the rest of it. And you know they don't read them. You know they ain't interested. But anyone that regularly watches this channel will know we interact with you all the time. This is the forum channel. This is all about us getting involved and us having a bit of a laugh and a bit of banter. I do warn you now, if someone has an absolute shocker, there'll be a bit of rib tickling. Do you know what I mean? We're going to take the mickey a little bit. None more so than myself. Let's make that clear. I will be very much laughing at myself. So just to recap, that is the Fantasy Football, the Premier League official one on the official Premier League site. Okay? So go on there and it's the Hammers Chat League. You can join us on Twitter on Hammers_chat. Ask questions on there if you're on Twitter. On Twitter, I am at Gonzo Big Nose. Join us on the forum, hammerschat.com. Big shout out and a thank you to King Apparel. Where is it? I haven't put it up there yet. There. I can't even see. There you go. I can't even see. Up there somewhere anyway. I'll put it up there. King Apparel, who are generously donating some t-shirts to our monthly competitions just to keep it interesting this season. Thank you one and all. Enjoy the last few days of the transfer window. Not much business for West Ham. If you're just here for the fantasy football and you support someone else, maybe your team's going to do some business. Whatever happens, it's certainly going to impact the Premier League and it's certainly going to impact our fantasy football. Best of luck to one and all. I hope you all... Well, actually, I don't hope you all win. I hope you all lose because I want to win and I hope you lot want to win. If you know what I mean. See you next time.